Barry White was an iconic American singer, songwriter, and producer, best known for his deep, soulful voice and timeless romantic hits like Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe, and You're the First, the Last, My Everything. He helped shape the sound of disco and R&B in the 1970s and led the Love Unlimited Orchestra to success. Here are some known and less known facts about Barry White's life. White was born Barry Eugene Carter on September 12, 1944 in Galveston, Texas. His father was Melvin A. White, and his mother was Sadie Marie Carter. Barry took the last name White later in life, but his father was largely absent during his upbringing. He grew up in the Watts neighborhood of South Central Los Angeles, California. He was the older of two children. His brother Daryl was 13 months younger. White grew up listening to his mother's classical music collection and first took to the piano, emulating what he heard on the records. Barry considered his mother a major influence and credited her discipline and love of music for helping shape his future. Barry White's signature bass baritone voice didn't develop until he was a teenager. His voice dropped practically overnight at age 14, surprising even him. He recalled, "As a child, I had a normal squeaky kid voice. Then as a teenager, that completely changed. My mother cried because she knew her baby boy had become a man." In a 2000 interview with Conan O'Brien, he further recalled, "I woke up one morning when I was 14. I spoke to my mother and I scared both of us." Before becoming famous, Barry White was incarcerated for 4 months as a teenager. He and some friends stole $30,000 worth of Cadillac tires in a scheme that would eventually land him in trouble. The crime was considered fairly serious at the time, especially for a teenager. During this time, he had time to reflect on his life and consider his future. While in jail, Barry heard a song by Elvis Presley called "It's Now or Never." This moment of listening to the music sparked a deep desire to turn his life around. It became a turning point, where Barry made the decision to pursue a career in music. After his release, Barry White tried to pursue a career in the music industry. He began as a session musician, playing bass guitar and contributing to a variety of tracks for other artists, as well as a songwriter for smaller independent Los Angeles-based labels. In 1967, he wrote the songs Under the Influence of Love with friend Paul Politi. In 1969, White was signed by Forward Records of Los Angeles, as a producer. In 1972, White got his big break producing a girl group he had discovered called Love Unlimited. He wrote and produced all of their material. Their biggest heist were Walkin' in the Rain with The One I Love, I Belong to You, and a cover of Under the Influence of Love. White's big break as a producer came in 1973, when White created the Love Unlimited Orchestra, a 40-piece orchestral group to be used originally as a backing band for the girl group Love Unlimited. The instrumental song, Love Theme, would top the Billboard charts and would become a blueprint for latter material and for the emergence of disco music. White wanted to work with another act, but decided to work with a solo male artist. While working on a few demos for a male singer, he made 3 song demos of himself singing and playing, but the Arcord label boss heard them and insisted that he re-record and release them himself as a solo recording artist. After arguing for days about it, White was finally persuaded to release the songs himself, although he was initially reluctant to step out behind the microphone. He then wrote several other songs and recorded them for what eventually became an entire album of music. It eventually became White's first solo album, 1973's I've Got So Much to Give. It included the title track and his first solo chart hit, I'm Gonna Love You Just a Little More Baby, which also rose to number 1 on the Billboard R&B charts as well as number 3 on the Billboard Pop charts in 1973 and stayed in the top 40 for many weeks. The rest is history. Barry White had a complex and private personal life, especially when it came to his marriages and children. Barry White's first wife was Gwen. They married in the early 1970s, and together they had 1 child. Their marriage eventually ended in divorce. His second wife was Glodian White, a member of the group Love Unlimited, whom he met during his time working with the group. They married in 1974. Glodian was also a significant part of Barry's musical career, providing backing vocals on many of his hits. Together, they had 2 children. Although they separated in the late 80s, they never officially divorced. Barry White had 9 children in total from his various relationships. Known for his luxurious fashion, Barry White was rarely seen without his signature platinum chains, black suits, and bold sunglasses, often portraying an image of both glamour and sophistication. His style became as iconic as his music. He had a massive wardrobe of matching suits. While stylish, it's a pretty mundane celebrity quirk. White was overweight for most of his adult life and apparently smoked approximately 150 cigarettes a day. He reportedly weighed up to 375 pounds. While undergoing dialysis and awaiting a kidney transplant in May 2003, White suffered a severe stroke, which forced him to retire from public life. White's unstable health prevented him from receiving a new kidney, and he died on the 4th of July, 2003. While White's career slowed down considerably in the 80s after the demise of disco, his music was resurrected with samples, especially from hip-hop. Artists like Jay-Z, Notorious B.I.G., Blackstreet, and Robbie Williams are some of the artists that sampled his music. Barry White wasn't just a musical icon. He also had some acting roles and appearances in film and television, often leveraging his deep voice and larger-than-life persona. Barry White voiced himself in the iconic TV show The Simpsons. He appeared in an episode titled The Springfield Connection, where he helps the character Lisa Simpson in a plot that involves snakes. Despite it becoming iconic, Barry White reportedly disliked being called the Walrus of Love. It was meant affectionately, but he found it unflattering. Barry White's Grammy win in 2000 solidified his status as a musical legend, even though his most significant work came in the 1970s and 1980s. His soulful and romantic sound has continued to resonate with listeners worldwide, making him a beloved figure in the music world even years after his passing in 2003.